All right, guys, here we are with Tony Tarell with Alert GPS. Today, we're going to be talking about GPSs and how to secure your power sports vehicles and try not to get them ripped off because the worst thing in the world is to come out when you want to go for an awesome joyride and your stuff is gone. So, Tony,
Yeah.
my man, welcome to
Thank
the
you, sir.
pro tip segment we're doing here, and I
Awesome.
appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so let's talk about some Alert GPS. I know you and I have talked about this several times. You've been on live talk. We actually use the Alert GPS on our rentals, on our fleet. I have a couple stories myself of how they paid off. And most of the stories. I got another one that just happened not too long ago that I can share with you. But yeah, I mean, the Alert GPS has been absolutely amazing. So why don't we, for the sake of people that never heard of it, don't know what it is, don't know how it works, maybe bring them up to speed a little bit on Alert GPS and what it's all about.
Yes, sir. So, Alert GPS, we're a power sports focused GPS company. We've been doing this a little over 10 years now, and we're one of the only companies that has a power sports only device. Like, it's not an auto device that we just put a shell on it and call it a power sports. It's got onboard power management. It's IP68. It's got all the features that were needed in power sports because our batteries suck. They come factory. They're constantly pulling, so it goes into a sleep mode. And we built it solely around power sports. That's where we get the motto, built by riders for riders, because that's
Yep.
we're in the industry. We do live, breathe, eat. So we built it solely for power sports.
Nice, nice. And I actually happen to have one here. And when somebody looks at this, it really doesn't like look like a whole lot, which is good because it's not very big. I mean, you can see how thin that is and how it's laid out. But so your GPS, unlike all the other GPSs out there, at least any that I've seen or that I've used in the past, waterproof, dustproof, shockproof. I mean, this thing is literally, like you said, it's made for power sports. It's not taking it out of a pickup truck and then
Yeah.
putting it into a side by side or an ATV.
Yeah. Yeah, no, years ago when we first built it and came out with our first model, that was, my team's telling me, it's IP68 submergible, this and that. I'm like, okay. So I sent a couple to Scott Smith, my buddy, high lifter, and I'm like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
put these on, take them out to Highland Park, test it out. So he sends me a picture. He sunk it, down in a pond, and he's like, hey, it's still located. I'm like, all right, well then we're good to go.
Still working.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know, I mean, we hide ours. Of course, everybody hides
Yeah.
their GPSs because even if somebody gets one of these Alert GPSs, puts it on, and the first thing a jacker is going to do is cut the battery or undo the battery. So when that happens, you actually have a backup battery in this, correct?
Right. Yes, sir. Yeah, because I mean, most guys when they come in, they're going to steal something. They pull the seat, or they pull, and they just cut power in case there's an alarm or something like that.
Yeah.
They'll cut it there. But then our backup battery takes over once that happens.
Okay. Any idea how long that backup battery lasts? Is it due to, because I know it, like we have ours set up for every 60 seconds, to ping every 60 seconds where it's at. Uh how does that work? Like if somebody takes it, puts it on a trailer and takes it somewhere and puts it in a shed or a pole barn or something.
So I tell people with the internal battery, I give it 4 hours of continuous track time, meaning it's constantly moving for 4 hours so that the device stays awake. Because do that onboard power management, it goes rest mode, then it goes into a deep sleep. When it goes into sleep, it shuts down everything and goes pretty much static. So I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, if they drove it somewhere and stopped it and let it sit there, then it could last, a couple days. It just depends
Yeah.
on how long it sits there and it sits
Yeah.
static.
And then with ours as well, like I'll be doing some work on our machines, and if I unhook the battery, I immediately get a notification that says,
Yeah.
"Hey, this has been unhooked from the battery." So that's another clear indication that, hey, man, somebody's probably stealing your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we've got a couple of different notifications that they can get. The battery disconnect, they can do a theft fence notification, which puts a geofence around wherever it's sitting at that moment. And then if it
Mhm.
moves outside of there, it sends them that notification. So it just kind of, the more they can get notified, the faster they can get on it. Because with power sports, off road, it's some, but motorcycles real heavy. If you're not actively tracking that thing in the first, 3-4 hours, it's gone. I mean, it's in parts on eBay because I mean they're
Yeah,
just loading it in a van, breaking it down right there.
yeah,
So
yeah. If you don't find it in the first few hours, it's done. It's gone.
yeah, yeah,
And then you were talking about the fence area. I actually set ours up because in the beginning, when we were doing our rentals, we were going to actually rent the vehicle out, give them a GPS, and let them go, explore on their own. Well,
Yeah.
after a year of a soft open, bringing in industry professionals, friends, family, everybody that we knew, they said, we don't like that. We don't want to do that. We like when you guide us, because we took them and showed them everything.
Yeah.
They're like, no, I like that because it's stress free. I know I'm riding where I'm allowed to be riding. You take us to restaurants and stuff like that, place to eat. It's a lot like Hatfield McCoy where we ride. But what I did in the beginning is I set up like a fence around a couple areas I didn't want people going. Like there's a couple crazy off-road parks that we have around us here in Middle Tennessee, and they are hardcore. People die there. I mean, it is not maintained, groomed. It's kind of a drink as much as you can, and it's a free-for-all. And stuff gets busted up. I have friends that I talked to a guy the other day. I actually took two machines, and I'll tell you, this is where it really paid off. I got a call. Stone Cold Steve Austin was doing a show for his new series coming up. I forget what it's called, but so Stone Cold Steve and Luke Combs were doing a shoot, okay, at one of these parks.
Yeah.
So they called and they said, hey, listen, we can't get any more side-by-sides. Can we rent some from you? And I usually don't do that. And I've worked with Steve with Kawasaki in California on a couple things and in Vegas. And I was like, well, I said, we usually don't do this just because, the stuff gets the shit beat out of it.
Yeah.
So they were like, no, it's going to be for our film guys, our crew. They just need to get out there because Steve's actually sponsored by Kawasaki.
Yeah.
And of course I have Polaris, and I'm like, well, how's Kawasaki going to feel about me dropping off two Polaris? Because I know how that works. And they said, well, it's just for the film crew. It's not, for the talent. It's not for us to be on camera. I said, okay. So I took them there and I dropped them off, and they have the A3Rt GPS on there. I knew exactly where they were on that park. I knew exactly when they moved it. I would pull it up and I would let the screen up. And I would see where they were at. And really, honestly, they only used those machines. I had them out there for 2 days, and they only used them like 2 or 3 times. Now, the park is super muddy. So, I mean, they got muddy, which is no big deal. But I saw exactly where they were at, and they took them exactly where they told me they were going to take them filming. So being able to track that as a rental person is like, man, that's a huge peace of mind. But that fence area you can set up. You don't want your kids playing in a mud hole. You don't want them going here because it's dangerous or whatever. You can set it up and you get an alert as soon as that thing enters that zone.
Yeah. And then we went through and one step kind of further. You add the theft fence and then you add the geo fences, but then you have after hours. So there's a lot of guys that, they work home, moving around their stuff. They have the geo fences set up, but they're like, dude, I don't want to get an alert when I leave the house, or when I come home, so then we put in after hours where you can actually schedule it. So the customer can schedule it and say, Monday through Friday from, 8 p.m. till 8 a.m. That's when I want to be notified when it leaves my house. I don't want to be notified during the day when I'm riding around. So we can set all that up too.
And that's what I did too. And then also you have your speed notification, because like I set it up for a certain speed. And then whenever I'd have one of the guys take it to the dealership for service, I kept getting notifications. It's exceeded the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, and then show me where it happened and everything. Yeah. So the detail that you can do with that A3Rt GPS is like, it's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and then that's a good thing when you get the location history and you kind of break it down and you can see the green arrows as far as where all it goes, and you can click on each one and show speed and how fast it was going there, and it helps out. Like I've had a lot of dealers that come back to me and they're like, hey, the customer says that they weren't doing this or that, and it's like I can pull it up and show them, or my kid tells me that they weren't going this fast, and I'm like, well, yeah, you were. I can see right here.
Yeah. And I showed you the video. We rented out the Slingshot to this one lady. Well, her son got a hold of it, took it out joyriding, and she brought it back, and he came back with her because they, followed her in the car, and then they were going to pick her up and everything when she dropped it off. And the back tire was all tore up. I mean, it was shredded. And the front tires were like rolled over on the side where it had been cornered hard. Yeah. And I saw the front tires first when I was walking around, and then I went around and looked at the back tire, and there was chunks missing. I mean, I sent you the video of it. It was shredded. So I said something to the lady. I said, hey, this wasn't done when you left. Of course, we had pictures and everything. And she said, oh, she goes, well, I was in downtown Nashville and they had stones on the street, and it must have happened there or coming up your driveway, because our driveway is, stone. And I said, okay, hold on, I'll be back. So I went in the office and I pulled it up, the history, and I looked. And that morning, her son got a hold of it, took it out, and was joyriding. And I could see everything on the map: hard left, hard right, hard left, rapid acceleration, hard turn. It told me everything. So then I clicked on the map and I zoomed in and I saw there was a gravel track at the hockey arena that they weren't using, because it was closed down. So construction, and it was actually like a walking track. Well, they got on there and was letting it eat. And so I pulled her in. I said, let me show you something. And I pulled it up on the map and I showed it to her. I said, see this? I said, this is definitely not happening downtown Nashville or on our driveway. I said, somebody was, and it had the speed, it had everything. And she said, how much is it? I said, $350.
Yeah.
And she just shelled it right out. And she said, okay, well, he's going to end up paying for it. So I was like, all right, well, I got you.
I
mean, right there it is. You can't argue with that.
Yeah, because normally you would have had to eat that. I
couldn't have proved it.
Yeah.
But the look on their face when I came out and I said, I know every 60 seconds where that vehicle was, how fast it was going, and what it was doing, they were just like, they couldn't believe it. I was like, you think we're going to send them out without a GPS?
Yeah. One of my buddies, this guy, I know he owns a construction company. And so he bought a bunch for me for his shop vehicles and then like some of his equipment. We had an extra one left over. So he stuck it on his new Dodge Ram that he got. And so him and his wife went out of town. And so then he's getting these alerts on his phone. His truck's out, driving around. And so he's like, man, so he doesn't want to show his hand to his son, his stepson, that he's got this GPS on it. So he's telling him, like, hey, son, did you take my truck? He's like, no. Son, did you take my truck? He's like, no. He's like, son, he's like, I got toll tag notifications showing, this and that at, 11, 12 o'clock at night. No. So he keeps going back where it was. Finally, he's like, dude, he's like, I had to. He's like, I pulled my phone out and he's like, clicked on it. He's like, showing, look, there's my truck going down the highway. He's like, what? He's like, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Busted.
Oh, they'll deny it until they're caught, until they're busted.
We had a really cool one last week before last. One of my dealers in Missouri calls me and he's like, hey, he was like, I need you to help me out real quick, tracking my truck. And so he didn't tell me a whole lot about what was going on, but then afterwards fills me in. So we were tracking his work truck, and it's pulling a trailer full of golf carts. Well, he tells me that his guy stops in at a gas station, goes in to get something to drink, and someone jacks his truck and trailer at the gas station, takes off with it. So he's tracking it and he's calling the police. Well, police go, well, then all of a sudden the police are kind of trying to catch him and he's refreshing, and he's telling them location. And so he's on the phone with me with speakerphone with the sheriffs, and we're kind of relaying, messages back and forth of where he's at. Well, they catch up kind of where they could see him, and it was just the truck. He's like, no, there's a trailer load of golf carts on it. So he goes back to history and sees where for like 2 minutes the truck had pulled off in this grove of trees. So then he sends that location. They go back. There's his golf carts on his trailer stuffed off in these trees. Dude, this dude takes them on a 3-county chase in this truck, smashing through stuff. And finally he was like, dude, Tony, I got my truck back. He goes, it's totaled out because they built a barricade and he tried to smash through it and they were smashing his truck, blew out both front axles. Well, then he tells me the backstory. The night before, this dude and his brother are wanted felons. They had robbed some bank or robbed something and they were on the run. They actually caught both of them, had them in the cop car. And this dude jumped out of the cop car while it's moving on a bridge, dove over the side of the bridge into a lake and swam away. And then early the next morning stole this dude's truck and trailer and led him on this chase. So they ended up catching him, took him to jail, like all this stuff, all because GPS on it. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't got any stories that cool. I mean, mine are pretty mild compared to that, but I mean, I can see how it could definitely pay off. So I know, a lot of people are probably thinking, well, just how good does it work and how much is it? And, what do I need as far as a plan? Maybe we can cover some of that, like an MSRP, what people can expect, and then like a monthly plan. How does all that work for them? for 'em?
Yes, there's no monthly plan. We do it annually. We include 3 years of airtime with the device. So when you buy it from the dealership, you're covered for 3 years.
Mhm.
You don't have to pay anything after that 3 years, and it's $59 a year. So I mean, if they wanted to work it out in a monthly, it's like $2.50 or something.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, they just pay it annually, $59. If they want, the dealer can package more years of airtime up front. So if they're including it in financing, and they want to roll it all in,
yeah.
um, we're seeing MSRP on average, is about $699 installed. We're seeing
Uh-huh.
kind of around the country, kind of depending pricing here and there, again, what it's being, installed on, what the dealership charges for, labor. So it kind of varies, but, it's
Yeah.
around it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And what type of warranty as far as the device?
It's got a lifetime warranty, as long as it's got active airtime and it's covered and
Mhm.
paid, then it's covered for life. I mean, we have over 1 million devices out there and a less than
Yeah.
1% failure rate. So I mean, it's not very often, but we get a few here and there, but we'll swap them out.
Yeah, yeah. And I noticed too, whenever I got mine and started to set them all up, like immediately I had an email, about support and setting it up. And I did have some questions because I couldn't get something to work. And it was like immediately, it was like taken care of. So I think, some people might be like, well, I'm going to buy something like this and I'm going to be left in the dark. I think your support side of it is one of the most impressive things, not only how well the device works, but the support's there. And that's a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. We try to make it, again, like, we know people are busy, and it's like trying to make it as simple as possible where, when they buy the device, it's all, and they do the registration, it's all set up, there's alerts, we try to make it as simple as possible, but right inside the app, if they click on support, it's going to pull up all of our contact info, but it's also going to pull up the user guide. And so it'll walk them through, and it's got screenshots and picture, so they can see how to create, alert, how to set up this, how to do that. But then if they need, they call us, we can get on the phone with them. We'll walk them through it. We understand that some people aren't as tech savvy as others, and it's like, you wouldn't believe how many support calls we get from, like, people that aren't tech savvy. They don't understand
Yeah.
any of it. And it's like, we'll just kind of ask them, what do you want to be notified of? What do you not? And then we'll set it up for them, because it's
Okay.
easier for us just to go ahead and do it than try to walk them through it, because I mean, once you get, for the most part, your settings set, you're not going
Yeah.
to mess with them again. You're not going to go in
Yeah.
there changing them. So it's like, we'll go ahead and set them for them and, walk them through and get it all set up.
As far as like, I see on your thing, it says label side down. So if somebody doesn't put that down or they mount it like, sideways on the side, what's the big difference as far as like having it like that as opposed to like this or even like that?
So the antennas are on the top side, or,
Uh-huh.
top side. So really, it's just us. We pride ourselves on our accuracy, to be within 3 to 5 feet of where it's at. And so GPS works like a microwave, so it bounces off things. And so if you
Hmm.
turn it sideways, it's bouncing off certain things. So it might be 15 feet over there or 20
Uh-huh.
feet over there. It's a little bit off. So it's like,
Yeah.
we just tell them like that, just because we want to be as accurate as possible.
Be straight down on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how, I mean, for us, we have a metal pole building and I can still see the units where they're at. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that might be a concern of somebody takes it and puts it in a shipping container.
Yeah, and now shipping container is a little bit different. I mean, it's going to be hard to get through a shipping container because it's like, 1/2 inch thick. But your normal, metal buildings and stuff like that, it'll work inside of there. We always ask dealerships, like, if they have a metal building roof, or the inside of a metal building, first locate when they first hook it up, take it outside, let it acquire that satellite
Yep.
the first time, and then you can push it back in and it'll locate, just fine. But it just needs that first hard locate.
Yeah, because that's what I do. I get it located and then I'll pull it in the pole barn or whatever, and it's still locating it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So is there any other details or anything you wanted to share with us about the GPS itself? What somebody could expect, or what are they going to get out of this thing?
It's more, a lot of people think it's, just theft recovery. Like that's, and that's what we try to teach our dealers. And like when they're pitching, it's not, not just a theft recovery device. You're buying a side by side and your teenage kids are going to be driving it, or you're buying a jet ski or whatever boat, and
Hmm.
your teenage kids are going to be driving it. You want to know where they're at, what they're doing, get notifications when they go into areas you don't want them to go, or they're speeding, or, this and that. Or you're a guy that, you ride long distance, or you ride, this and that. People can check in on you, make
Yeah.
sure you're not hurt, and then tracking your ride. So like in your situation, Eagle Rider, they use our stuff too, a lot of rental guys, and they'll print them out a map layout, of where all they went, and so the customer has this kind of bragging rights, hey, look, I went and rode this ride and, this and that. So that helps out too. Also insurance, we get a lot of sales solely for insurance discounts. So when you take a teenage kid, 18 to 25-year-old kid buying a sport bike, his insurance is through the roof. I mean, some of these guys are paying $500 a month, and just insurance on one bike. And so they throw a GPS on it and it drops it, 15, 20%, because that's a big thing that they're worried about is the theft on it. And so I get a lot of guys that buy it just for the insurance discount.
So now, like the vehicle, like say a regular truck, like if I was to put one on my Ram, like that's a different GPS. That's a totally different price point, different GPS. How's that set up?
Yeah, that's totally different. That's on our new car division kind of, pricing there. And it normally comes preloaded on cars, at the dealership, and they use our lot management and all that different stuff. We don't get a whole lot of like one-off sales on that side of it. But, we're always open. If we got a dealership that, wants to do it, we can send them standalone units that they can sell just for the auto side. And we have a Y harness for your OBD2. So you plug it in, hide it up under the dash, but the port's still open. You still have an open port, so nobody knows it's there. And then they can get all their notifications. So I get a lot of dealerships that when they sign up, we'll throw them in, a couple of those, and it's like they'll put them on their shop trucks, because then it's like, it gives them a demo that they can show customers, and then they can also see what that service guy does. I was in a dealership one time, and they're like, can you set up a way where I can get notified if my truck goes to a certain address? I'm like, yeah, just give me the address. So I'm on the GM's computer, and he gives me the address, and I was like, what are you doing? He's like, man, he goes, I think this dude goes home and takes a nap sometimes. And so then I labeled the alert, so-and-so's taking a nap. And so he calls me like 3 days later. So he gets his notification. This dude's pulling up to the house, and in their shop truck, he's going in there and taking a nap. He gets this text on his phone that says, so-and-so's taking a nap. He's like, what? So he's calling the kid, what are you doing? He's like, So yeah, I mean, it helps out having it on the shop truck too.
The vehicle GPS is designed different. It's not waterproof.
Right.
It's not dust proof. It's not IP68. It's just straight up like keep it in your truck. If that thing gets wet, you got a problem.
Yeah. No, I mean, it can be mounted under the hood, like if you were going to put it under there, but most of the time the guys are putting it in a climate controlled dash, up in there. It can be put under the hood so it can, withstand a little bit, but yeah, if it's getting submerged, we got a problem.
Oh yeah, for sure. You got a bigger problem than
But yeah, it helps out. I mean, a lot of the guys, a lot of people buy it and they want it on their vehicle too. They buy one at a power sports dealership and it's like for their motorcycle, and then they'll call us. And they're like, man, I wish I had this on my teenage kid's car. I'm like, we have one for your car. You just go plug it in, it's like, yeah. So, I mean, that's just, that's showing, you've got multiple vehicles so you can see, kind of where they're at, what they're doing. You can go here to location history and pull it up, and it's going to show all the location, where all it's been, what it's done. Just show them how easy it is. I mean, when they pull it up on the map and they hit, they log in, it just shows them right where their vehicle's at. They can see what it's doing. If it's red, it's stopped. If it's green, it's in motion. They can see, how long it's been moving, how long it's been sitting there. Just gives them all the different features on it.
And for us, the way I use it is I'll go into vehicles and then I have all of them labeled. And ours are like G1, G2 for like general 1 through 10. And then we got R 1 through 5. And then we've got S 1 through 4 for like slingshots. And then I know exactly what vehicle I want to target, and I can check it and then find out the stats on it, hit the map. Another thing we do is when our guides are out, whenever we come back, you refuel them, you get them ready for the next ride. So sometimes we'll look and be like, okay, they're 5 minutes out. And then everybody starts getting ready. It's not like you're getting ready and waiting 20 minutes and like, where are they at? Or like another thing, we had a problem with our generals there for a while. They come bone stock with a bad clutch, like right out of the gate. So right around 1,800 miles, they started dropping like flies. So they call me up and they're like, hey man, G3 just blew a clutch. So we pull it up on the map and be like, okay, we see exactly where it is. We would have another machine on a truck and trailer and shoot out there and meet up with them. And they didn't have to like waste time, ping us, drop us a location. I'm like, I see exactly where you're at. The detail of it, like you have your theft fence, your after hours, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I use all that for different notifications and different ways for the way I have the vehicle set up. Of course, I have our slingshot set up different than our side by sides because the side by
Yeah.
sides are guided tours. So we're
Right.
in control of what goes on. Now the slingshots, that's a give it to them and go
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Well, yeah, it's just, that, like you were saying, with the whole check and make sure they're coming back. I mean, that's a big thing, when you want to know. So you guys have everything ready. You're ready when they get there, and it's not like they show up and it's, then everybody's moving around. I've got a lot of RV guys, dealers do the same thing. I mean, heck, I use it. So, I mean, my daughter's 18, so she's out, doing her thing. She goes to, her boyfriend's wherever, but it's like, she's supposed to be home at a certain time, and it's like, if it's late, later, if she, it's got to be home by 11 or midnight and we're ready to go to bed, I can, about that time, I just kind of pull it up and check. Okay. Yeah. She's on her way home, so then I go ahead and, know that she's heading this way, so you can check it and see.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, for us, it's been a lifesaver. I have not had anybody try and steal anything. So I haven't thankfully had to use that part of it yet, but I know there's a lot of people that have had that happen and it saves them in the long run. I mean, you think about it. If you don't have insurance on your power sports vehicle and somebody steals it, you're still responsible for paying those payments. And power sport vehicles are 20, 25, 30, even more $1,000 now. You can't even buy like a bone stock side by side for under 15 grand anymore. I mean, they're just, so if somebody steals it, $600-700 is a better alternative to making that $20,000 payoff, or whatever it is. So in the long run, for us, the payoff was just worth it. And actually, we're an Alert GPS dealer, and that's one of the reasons that we became an Alert GPS dealer, because we saw the value in it, and we had people contacting us. We had so many people contacting us that we were like, well, now that we have the shop, we just bought a new shop and been in there about a month and a half. We're opening a pro shop. So we have all the bays to do service. We can do installs. We're also working on like kind of like a discount tire facility for the off-road world. We're going to do that for the off-road side of it, side by sides, ATVs, that kind of stuff. So we were like, well, now's the perfect time for us to do the Alert dealership. And so for us, we see the benefit and the payoff, and we have people coming to us and asking us about, especially we've had a lot of theft in our area lately. The tour that we do, there's like 2 or 3 areas that we go through that have been hit hard. They've been taking side by sides, dirt bikes, golf carts. I mean, they'll steal your damn billy goat if you don't let it out there not chained up. I mean, they steal everything. So we got a lot more interest from people coming in to get the GPSs because theft is high.
Well, and on the, you funny say the golf cart side of it, golf carts blown up. And I mean, it's been, huge money. You got all these big communities now, or, I mean, like my neighborhood, everybody drives around in their golf cart, but a lot of people, some people still don't know this. If you have a club car, every single club car, your key will start any club car. Like they've been doing this since the beginning of time because of golf course. All the keys start the same. So it's like, it doesn't matter. I mean, I've got 2 or 3 keys for every manufacturer in my golf bag, because it's like, if we get there or whatever. So we rolled out a keyless ignition. And so you can put push button start in your golf cart. So then you have push button start in there. They can't just walk up and stick a key that they have into there, and start your golf cart and ride off with it. You got push button, then you got the GPS built in. So you kind of see where your kids are going, whatever, what was being done. But then you've got the keyless aspect of it where you can shut that down.
Absolutely. And that's something I got to learn more about, especially with our fleet. I think that's a great option as well. Yeah. So if somebody wanted to get more information, I notice you have it pulled up there. While you have it up there, I just want them to see that it's an Alert GPS and it's an AL3RT, because if you go with Alert with an E, you're going to end up at like an old person GPS. Yeah. So that's not the one you want.
But you got to make sure you put the 3 in there.
So you got to put the 3 in there to get the Alert GPS. Or we are also a dealer. You can hit us up. You could give us a call, or hit up our email, any of that stuff. And all our contact information is in all of our videos and everything. So, or you can hit up Alert or Tony, and they'll be willing to help y'all out.
Yeah, if you call us and you're in Tennessee, we're just going to refer you right back to Brian. I mean, we don't deal consumer direct.
Yeah.
So if you contact us, we're going to find a dealer local in your area and send you out there.
Yep. Yep. Just help relocate. But man, this is some great info. I know we had you on Live Talk a while back, and it was excellent. We had a lot of interest. A lot of people really enjoyed that. You do a great job explaining it and helping people out. And it's when you have a good product that's easy to promote it like this.
Right.
When you've got a crappy product, man, it doesn't matter how you sell it or what you say. People are going to find out in the long run. You guys got a good track record. Everybody I've talked to that's had the Alert GPS has been happy. I've seen a lot of reviews. So for us, it's a no-brainer to use this kind of a tracking system. And as far as I know, personally, you guys got the best one out there, because I know we use another one on our Polaris vehicles that Polaris is using, but that is still kind of like a prototype product, and it doesn't do near what the Alert does, and it doesn't give us the same features and benefits that the Alert gives us. So for us, it's a no-brainer, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's, we've been doing this a long time, and we pride ourselves on, just being power sports focused. Harley Davidson, 6 or so years ago, came to us, and because we did some other stuff for them on locks and different things like that. And so they wanted the GPS, and we're like, no, we're not giving it to you. Well, they were going to roll theirs out, and they're bouncing some questions off me. And I'm like, that's never going to work like the way you guys have it set up. So they finally launched it in 2020. All 2020 touring models were coming with HD Connect, this and that. They killed the program September 30th. I mean, just ended it. And so all these people that were waiting to buy 2020s because of this, it just got ended and it's done. So then it's like Harley dealers are hitting us up. It's like, hey, we need to bring this in to help these customers. So, I mean, that's what we do. So.
All right. Well, that's cool, Tony. I appreciate your time coming on here and talking with us and sharing with us. We do appreciate it. Any kind of insight, information that we can share with the off-road world, power sports world, especially to keep their vehicles safe and make sure that they're still around for them to ride them, man. That you can't go wrong with that.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Tony. Well, thanks for your time, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, man.
Take care. Have a good one.